just tuned in, we had a caller earlier where their 16-year-old had a brain tumor. So they said the other kids were at risk and just went ahead and took them all. And that's what they do now. If one child gets hurt or has a disease, they then say, well, you're poor and you're at risk, we're taking them all. And they're just getting back to what they did until the 1940s. In 35 states, I show government newsreels in Endgame, 35 states, if you made a B-, black, white, they didn't care, Hispanic, didn't matter, they would take you and sterilize women, and young girls and boys. Sometimes they'd keep you. And the abuse and the bodies they've dug up at the orphanages all over the world. They've got another big U.S. university with the wife going public saying the coach was raping little boys in front of her. Evil wants to take over government and positions of power because no one believes a big university would do something. No one believes a police department would do something. No one believes the Texas Youth Commission would do something. No one believes they would arrest half the black people or more in the town of Tulia, setting them up on record to put them in jail. But they do. You know, one thing I wanted to say to that state police guy when he pulled me over, wasn't speeding, and then commenced to want to search my car, and then wanted to check the tent. This tent looks a little dark, pulls out a thing. Oh, it's 29. I guess that's okay. I'm like, I want to search your car. You work for a government that's the most statistically dangerous group out there. I'm not bad, pal. Look at all the real crimes going on. You're harassing me. And that's what a tyranny does. It shifts on to the general public. But I wanted to bring up to him how Texas is all over Fox, CNN, you name it, in towns everywhere where the police chiefs defend it. And they literally pull over old ladies, preachers, they don't care. And they say, let me look in your purse. And people don't know their rights and say, okay, these towns are so used to it, they don't care. They'll just club you in the head. And they actually go in and go, you got $2,000 in here. And the person's like, yeah, you know, usually it's an old person because they're Depression era. They don't really use credit cards except for emergencies. They carry cash. And they just take it. No judge, no jury. And they say, well, our asset forfeiture seizure says we can take it. Oh, you've got a regulation you pulled out of you pulled out of the air. And so you say now? I saw an article I couldn't believe 10 years ago or so. It was back in 2000, 2001. And in that article, it was the Seattle Post-Intelligencer or Seattle Times. I can't remember. They got 3 papers there. But it described how in a bar district, more than half the bars in the nice bar district were now owned by cops. And how soon they would own all the bars because the police would go in the bathroom and sell each other drugs and then asset forfeiture seize and then give it to another cop in the department as part of some type of courthouse sale that nobody was told of. And the paper was like, is it illegal for them to set up people's businesses and take their property? Maybe not. The article was like, yeah, they're taking over everything. And when you're in New York and you see a pot-bellied, wild-eyed cop with a bunch of others that look like something out of Clockwork Orange, giggling and laughing like wannabe gangsters, smoking cigars and cigarettes, being rude to women as they walk by. I mean, New York, in a way, is an interesting city, a lot of beautiful stuff. The vibe isn't really bad, but the police there, not all of them, too. You've heard them call in. Some are nice. They're either really nice or they're really bad, but more and more. I've been to parades. I've been there and covered things. And you'll look at the cops, and if I was a Hollywood director and I was getting a cast together of a futuristic police force with thug-like goons, you know, America has fallen. The police state is here. The corrupt tyranny is in place. You know, imagine a movie like that. I would go and hire New York cops. I would go and hire them to be the bad guys in my movie. Because, I mean, the lowness of someone who wants to be rude to tourists, the lowness of people sitting around with their shirts half untucked, and huge pot bellies. And again, I got a little bit of a belly. The point is that it is something weird about it. Or in commando gear, weighing 400 pounds. I see that a lot, too, with just weapons all around their giant Santa Claus bellies. bugging their eyes out. They're like little kids in dress-up army. When we drove up to protest the Federal Reserve a few months ago, and I'm going to your calls, we pulled in what they call the check shop, check stop. It's like a gas station that has kolaches and stuff at like midnight driving up there. And there was this cop in there who had to weigh 500 pounds. I mean, he looked like Fat Albert, white guy with a beard. Stains on his big giant, he was a sheriff's deputy, on his big giant shirt that went out like this, and firearms and tasers. And I watched him waddling around. You know, he walked in like he was a guy in a Western, walking through the saloon doors, you know, with his hands out, ready to grab his guns, looking. And he was looking around the corner when he walked into the donut area. And he was, when we got a drink out of the thing, he was looking, and he was... And you sit there and you look at these guys in the eyes, and they look at you like, you're looking at me. You see how powerful I am. And you're just like, holy mackerel. This guy is, was either bullied or was a bully. And it's such a joke. Tyranny is so pathetic. I mean, look at Barney Frank, caught running underage prostitutes, 15, 14-year-olds, out of his condo, out of his townhouse, and he went out and gave a press conference. It's in our film, Visible Empire, and said, if you talk about me anymore, I'm just going to go public with everybody else. And they said, you know what, Mr. Frank? You like 14-year-old boys, and knock yourself out. That's on record. That's who we're ruled by. Little pudgy-handed perverts, little nobodies in little Hitler outfits, stomping around in a gas station acting tough. You know, you'll see good old boys or people that are confident with their shoulders thrown back, all walking around happy. And maybe that's how I should be, but, you know, in my life, I've always not really had my shoulders hunched over. But if I really stand up straight, it looks pretty ridiculous. You know, it looks like Mr. Barrel Chest, and, you know, looks like I'm about to go into combat or something. But I've always just kind of just tried to keep to myself, tried not to get attention. That's because I'm confident. I'm aggressive. I'm afraid of somebody starting a fight with me. Because I'm afraid of what I'll do to them. Not that I'm tough. I've been hurt just as bad as I've hurt people who started it. And that's the problem. People who are strong and good and virtuous are ashamed of our strength, and we hide, and we let little wimps run around and act tough and boss us around like we've done something wrong. And I personally am sick and tired of it. Steve in North Carolina. Steve, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex, the great Thomas Paine of our day. You have been so instrumental in so many lives in bringing these ideas to the common people and as well as the intellectuals. First-time caller.
Well, good to have you here, sir. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I wanted just to talk about, and I was surprised, you know, you're a very busy man, was able to go out to the Campaign for Liberty event out there in Nevada and see Chuck Baldwin talk about the liberty, pro-liberty activities going on. And one of the things he shared was that he would rather vote for somebody that is for the Constitution that may be an atheist or agnostic than a Christian or a evangelical that is against the Constitution. And I just wanted to bring that up. And I think that's really, as a fellow believer of a Christ follower, I think that's a good point, and I wanted to make that on your show today.
Well, thank you, my friend. Anything else you'd like to point out?
The other thing I wanted to say, Alex, in reaching the millions that you do reach, I wanted to see if you had thought about adding Roku to your medium sources there. Yeah,
we get calls on people that say they're listening over Roku. But yes, we need to get ourselves listed. We never even tried till a few years ago to put the show on iTunes. We need to get on Roku. We need to go through those little steps to set that up. I've got quite an army of IT people now, so I guess need to have meetings with them and dole that out. But I mean, I get Roku calls. I see it. It says listing on Roku. What system is that?
Well, it's like the Apple TV, you know, where you have the little box.
No, I know that, but I mean, how are they? I mean, obviously, we must be listed on it if people are calling over it.
Okay, well, I'll have to search the internet.
Maybe people are adding us to their Roku. I think they can do that, from what I've heard.
Okay, well, I'll definitely search tonight for that and sign up for Prison Planet for sure. But the other thing, Alex, is, you know, with everything going on, you know, in reaching the young people, I wanted to see, you were talking about video games, and, you know, my brother and I have a concept that we're trying to work on, and where the character in this video game, it's kind of like a war game, you know, kind of violent, but kind of trying to reach the masses, and each step the character has to go find pieces of the Constitution that's been, you know, locked up in these maximum security places. But I wanted to see, maybe offline, to get a number where I can contact you to talk more about that with you.
Just send us an email, my friend, and I'll look into it. I appreciate your call. By the way, the Drudge Report linked to this morning, and then I think took it down in about 2 hours. And that happens sometimes when they're really busy and going through a lot of news, but it also happens if Drudge isn't sure about an article. But it's Senate moves to allow military to intern Americans without trial. Ron Paul's come out and said it does that. So is the ACLU. But people lie and say that it doesn't say that. I'll explain when we get back. Hey, everybody. Alex Jones here. If you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift, listen up. This will make your holiday shopping very easy. This year, give a seed bank from one of our oldest sponsors, Solutions from Science, to your friends and family. Here's why. The Survival Seed Bank will give any friend or loved one the ability to grow a full acre crisis garden of nutritionally dense, life-sustaining food. And the Survival Seed Bank is not just a box of open-pollinated seeds. It's an indestructible, waterproof seed bank that can even be buried if we face a real meltdown. And here's the best part. All the seeds in the Survival Seed Bank go through strict germination testing, so you can be confident you're not buying old seeds. Give a Survival Seed Bank this Christmas by going to survivalseedbank.com. That's survivalseedbank.com. Or you can call 877-327-0365 to give the gift that produces an ongoing supply of life-sustaining food.
Solar power. Solar power. Hand crank power. Hand crank power. Radio power. Radio power. The goods you want, the good deals you need to power up your survival are at 21stcenturygoods.com. In our solar department, you'll find solar generator kits, solar lanterns, flashlights, radios, and solar cell phone and laptop chargers. 21stcenturygoods.com is your hand crank headquarters for everything from generators to flashlights to emergency, weather, and shortwave radios by Grundig and Cato. Big brand names and big deals. Like this. Get a free solar flashlight with every order over $75. But hurry, offer ends soon. Go to 21stcenturygoods.com. Spelled the number 2, the number 1, ST, centurygoods.com. That's 21stcenturygoods.com or call 866-999-8422. 21stcenturygoods.com. Power up your survival.
There are limitless ways to go into business for yourself, but most involve substantial capital and risk. Our InfoWarsTeam.com operation is different. We promote premium quality health, energy, and skincare products using dynamic, caring personalities and state-of-the-art media technology to spread a powerful message of health, wealth, longevity, and freedom. This low-cost business opportunity is designed for full-time or part-time, so you can work as little or as much as you'd like. It is you that defines the reward level. Whether you are seeking a few $100 extra per month or a 6 or even 7-figure annual income, it's up to you. Want to find